Hi everyone, in this video we are going to see how to give piping in the U-neckline. So we are going to see two techniques to give the piping. One is with canvas technique and the other one is with cross piece finishing. So to make the piping we have to take the cross piece or bias strip you can say. We'll see how to take the cross piece. So when you stretch the fabric you have to take the fabric in which you are going to cut the bias strip. Try to stretch the fabric. So when you hold the fabric in the cross way and stretch it, the fabric will stretch. When you hold it in the straight way like this and stretch, it won't stretch. So you have to take the strip in the cross way, that is called bias strip. So you have to take the strip from the cross grain. So the width of the strip I want is 1/4. I'm going to make use of the scale and cut multiple strips to make a piping. Draw the lines in the cross grain. And cut out the strips. And you can see the width of the strip here, it's 1/4. Now the strips are ready, we'll start stitching the neckline. So first you have to join the strips to make a piping. So I'll show you here how to join the cross piece. You have to place the cross piece right on right and join diagonally in a cross way. You have to give the stitch. So here I'm just making it fast. If you have any doubts about joining the cross piece, kindly check my video how to finish the U neckline. In that video I have explained clearly about this cross piece joining and everything. So after giving the stitch, cut very close to the stitch, leaving 1/4 like this. When you open, the cross piece will get joined. Now take the right side and take one more step, place the right on right and give the stitch. Lock it in the beginning and give the stitch so the stitch will get secured, it won't open. Leaving 1/4, cut the remaining fabric. So 1/4 or 1/8 you can leave it and cut the remaining fabric. So now we have made long strip to make the piping. Now take the piping thread, place the piping thread on the wrong side in the middle of the fabric. So this is the piping thread. So in this there is numbers like 18, 12 and 24 like that. So based on the thickness the number will change. So here I am using 18 number thread. Okay, place the thread on top of the wrong side in the middle of the fabric and fold it like this. The piping thread should be inwards and it should be on the wrong side. Change the piping footer in your machine and stitch very close to the piping. Lock it in the beginning. So if you stitch very close to the piping will not move inside the loop, it will get stuck. So you have to give the stitch very close to the piping to secure the piping inside the loop. Lock it and finish it. Trim off the extra threads, extra piping thread. So this is how it looks after completing. So to attach it to the neckline, from the stitch leave 1/4 and cut it. So first I'll explain why we are cutting the piping after attaching, why we are cutting the piping to 1/4 inch. So along with the piping thread, the width of this piping what we are going to attach to the neckline should be 1/4 inch, because in the neckline we'll be leaving the seam allowance of 1/4 inch. So if the piping is also with 1/4 inch, the finishing, neckline finishing will be very easy and it will be perfect without any extra fabrics projecting outside. So we are making the piping also 1/4 inch. Along with the piping thread, the strip should be exactly 1/4 inch. Now take the canvas, fold and stitch the corners. So these techniques, everything I have explained in detail in U-Neckline. If you have any doubts, you can refer that video. Now take the neckline, place the piping thread first. So the piping should be facing towards the sleeve side. The raw edge of the piping should be towards the neckline and stitch very close to the piping. So you can align the piping raw edge along with the neckline raw edge, because the seam allowance what we left is 1/4 and the piping what we made is also 1/4. So you have to match both. Give the stitch very close to the piping and turn the piping according to the neckline shape. So gently turn the piping in the curved area. So little by little you have to turn and finish it. Lock it in the end and trim off the extra piping. Now take the canvas and place the canvas on top of the piping. Align the canvas neatly with the neckline. So if you want, you can pin it and start stitching. I'm going to just stitch like that. Stitch very close to the piping. So you can touch and feel the piping. So you have to stitch very close to the piping. Lock it in the end and finish it. After completing, give notches all over the neckline. After giving notches, turn the canvas and give the top stitch. So when you turn for the top stitch, you have to give the stitch very close to the piping again. Lock it in the end and finish it. Now turn the canvas to the wrong side and you have to give the stitch with 1/4 distance away from the piping. So there are two ways to finish this piping neckline. So I am giving 1/4 distance stitch here. So if you are feeling that you don't want any stitch to be visible on the right side, instead of giving the stitch, you can just press it neatly on the right side. Back side you can do the hand hemming and leave it. Okay, that will also give you the neat look. Spread out the fabric and give the stitch when you are stitching. Lock it in the end and finish it. So after stitching, you'll have a finishing like this. This is how you have to finish the piping with canvas. So now we'll see how to finish the piping with bias strip. So already I have stitched the piping with the neckline. Now place the bias strip on top of the piping and stitch very close to the piping. Don't stretch the bias strip, leave it little loose and turn according to the neckline shape. Stitch very close to the piping. lock it and end it, trim off the extra strip and give notches all over the neckline. So this technique is going to be similar to bias strip, how to finish the U neckline with bias strip. So if you have any doubts, you can watch that. In that, the video will be very slow and neatly explained. Here I am going little faster. So now you have to fold half of the bias strip like this. So when you fold at back side, the bias strip will cross the stitch. So when you stitch in the front, the back side strip also will get locked. Stitch very close to the piping. Fold little by little and stitch gently without stretching. Lock it in the end and finish it. So this is how it looks at the wrong side. Now you have to turn overall strip. Turn the neckline to the wrong side. Turn overall strip to the wrong side and give the stitch at the wrong side. So I am turning the overall strip to the wrong side and giving the stitch in the extreme corner of the strip. Fold it little by little according to the neckline shape and stitch. So after stitching, press it gently, then only the neckline finishing will be very neat. So ironing is must for any type of garment. So the neckline is completed. This is how it looks. Hope you like the video. We'll meet you in next interesting video. Thank you all. Bye bye.